Europeans arrived on the east coast of North America in the 1500s and started moving westward toward the lands of the Navajo and many other Native American nations. Soldiers from Spain came to the land of the Navajo in the 1540s. They forced the Navajo off the best farming land and tried to convert the Native Americans to the Spanish calorific religion. For hundreds of years, the two groups fought throughout the American Southwest, with many deaths on both sides. In the 1830s, white American settlers began to arrive. A U.S. Army fort was built near Window Rock in 1851, deep in the heart of Navajo territory in what is now Arizona. Soldiers again tried to force the Navajo people off their own land and onto reservations, which were areas set aside for resettling Native Americans. The reservations were often far from the Native Americans' homes and did not have land that was good for farming or had enough water sources. Few reservations provided much area for shelter. The Navajo tried to resist, but the U.S. Army was too powerful. The army killed horses and sheep, burnt cornfields, and killed many Navajo. Several times, the army forced the Navajo people on a long walk to desolate reservation in New Mexico called Bosque Wandosno. Hundreds of Navajo died during several of these forced walks, some of which were as long as 450 miles. The Navajo never gave up forever. After resisting the U.S. Army for decades, they signed a treaty in 1868 that gave the Navajo back their homeland. Today, that land is the Navajo Nation. It surrounds the Four Corners region of the United States, where Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico met. Through it all, the Navajo people kept their faith, their traditions, and their language. In the years that followed, the Navajo language that the US government tried to stamp out would come to play a big part in helping them. All armies used codes during wartime, and the US military is no different. They need codes that cannot be broken or understood by other armies. A language that was mostly unknown outside the Navajo Nation proved to be perfect. The U.S. Army had first used the Native American languages in World War I, which was fought from 1914 to 1918. Great Britain, France, Russia, and other nations battled Germany and its allies, Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, and other countries. The United States joined the war in 1917. Incredibly, even though the United States had treated Native Americans miserably for decades, more than 12,000 Native Americans fought in World War I. At that time, Native Americans were not even citizens of the United States, but they still wanted to do their part in the fight. The US Army hired Choctaw speakers to use radios and to write messages in their native language. Other Native Americans, including Comanche, Oneida, and Sac and Fox, took part in battles in Europe by sending and receiving messages. Because these languages were specific to use each tribal nation, no outsiders knew how to speak or understand them, including the US Army. The Native American speakers were trusted to pass along messages among other men of their own nations. Germany and its allies didn't have soldiers who spoke those languages, so the messages remained secret. In 1939, World War II began in Europe. As they had in World War I, the Navajo and other Native Americans were ready to fight. The Navajo government said, "We resolve that the Navajo Indians stand ready as they did in 1918 to aid and defend our government and constitution against all armed conflict." In early 1942, a man named Philip Johnston read about the use of Native American languages during World War I. Johnston was one of the few non-Navajo people who could speak the Navajo language. He had grown up in the Navajo Nation in Arizona, where his parents were missionaries. Johnston wrote to the U.S. Marines suggesting that the Navajo language could be the basis for an unbreakable code. On February 28, 1942, Johnson arranged a test to show the Marines how the Navajo language might be used as a code. 4 Navajo speakers were matched against 4 Marine messengers. Using radios, the Navajo speakers accurately sent a test message translated from English into Navajo in 20 seconds. The other messengers took half of an hour using the code already in use by the Marines. Major General Clayton Fargu ordered Johnston to find Navajo men to train for this new mission.